Thank you so much, Vishen, for taking your time for Laura Talks Meet Your Mentor, because to me, you're actually one of the most amazing mentors I'm following in the past month. And therefore, I'm super happy that you're here.
That's very nice of you to say.
Yeah. So you're right now in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, you said, right? I'm in Berlin, but thanks God to the internet, we can talk. Yeah, your approach, how you reinvent education is absolutely fascinating to me. And before we dive into it, I'd actually love to hear some words about your personal story, because you quit your successful career in Silicon Valley once you felt a lack of higher purpose. What happened in 2003?
So I was in Silicon Valley. I'm a computer engineer, so I'm a geek in every sense of the word. I love data. I love designing products. But what happened back then was, much like the world today, the world came collapsing down in 2001. First, the dot-com bubble hit, and then September 11 hit. And so boom, boom, there were two massive devastating things that hit America in the span of just a few months. April 2001, dot-com bubble hit, 14,000 people in Silicon Valley lost their job, including me. As we were scrambling, trying to get a job, I was rebuilding. I finally got a decent job. September 11 hit. Within a month of that, I was unemployed again. Soon I found myself sleeping on a couch, just trying to survive. And I got a job, basically, that was way below anything I'd studied to do. And that was picking up the phone and selling technology to lawyers. Now, it was a horrible job. The economy was bad. And back then, there were so many people with no jobs, the company wasn't even paying a base salary. So if you did not close a sale, you did not get paid.
Sure.
And I wasn't closing sales because I'm a geek. I'm a computer engineer. Don't make me talk to American lawyers and pitch them on technology. So in my desperation, I was on Google looking for answers, and I came across a class on meditation. I took the class and something in my head just flipped. Now, in that class, I learned many things. I learned to listen to your intuition. I learned to use your mind to visualize your goals. I learned to control your levels of beingness, your stress levels, your anxiety levels. The end result was this. In 4 months, I got promoted 3 times.
Wow.
And my life completely transformed. I was 26 years old and my career growth just shot up like that. I was all of a sudden vice president of sales in that company. But my ability to get things done was so powerful. My CEO gave me 2 jobs. I was VP of business development and VP of sales because I was so hyper productive.
Wow.
Now, I stayed with that company for about 18 months. Then I discovered I wanted to do something on my own. And I decided I wanted to teach meditation. So I did. And that's how Mindvalley started. Now, this was 2004 when I left that company. And it was 2016, 12 years later, that my book came out. And the book kind of shares that story. But in between that time, I started Mindvalley. And now we are an edtech company. We employ some 300 people around the world. We serve 12 million students. And our job is to bring to the world the education that your schooling forgot. So what
That's
this
amazing,
means is education on everything from health and fitness to parenting to mind-body healing to intuition to biohacking. We work with many of the world's best teachers, and what we are building is really, have you ever seen the movie Iron Man?
Honestly, I didn't. Should I?
I guess that's a very American thing, right? And maybe in Germany, you guys are not so into Marvel superheroes. So there's a superhero called Iron Man, and he has an artificial intelligence called Jarvis, and he puts on his helmet, and Jarvis helps him navigate the world. Jarvis helps him understand how to fight crime, where to turn. He's able to check his health levels all through Jarvis. Mindvalley is building Jarvis for every human being on the planet. We're building a technology platform, a learning platform, and AI to help us make decisions in a complex world. How do you become a better parent? How do you take care of your health? How do you stay healthier longer? How do you deal with stress and anxiety? We're building an AI that we want to power education across the entire planet and let anybody become their own superhero.
Wow. That's actually a very important point you're mentioning, because you said you wrote a book first about all these topics, and
Right.
then you also just you are about to publish the second book. And so many of us buy into the myth that hard work is the path to success, even more so now given how uncertain the job market currently feels. And in your new book, you break with these old patterns, right? That lead to an unhappy life and work. And instead you say you want to create or write the Bible for changing the nature of work. Why do we still share these old beliefs?
Well, human beings are really funny, right? We believe things because we don't know any better. Human beings are easy to program. As you know, I mean, throughout history, in Germany, for example, there have been leaders who have programmed people to do really horrible, malicious things. So human beings are highly susceptible to programming. And one of the grand delusions of our society is that we have to toil, struggle, and work to earn a living. And what I suggest in this book is that there are better, easier ways for us to exist in the world. The soul never signed up for an experience that said, I will work like 80-hour weeks and do things that kill my soul and I have no passion for, just so I can earn a paycheck. Now, what the Buddha and the Badass, which is my upcoming book, teaches you is how to bring in your soul into your work. And so I bring in spiritual tools, philosophical tools that help you approach work in a completely different way. It helps you identify if what you're doing is aligned with your purpose. It helps you identify how to have greater, healthier connections with the people you work with. It helps you identify how to keep your health in a really good way so that you're able to improve your thinking, your ideation, your ability to function. It shows you how to deal with complex jobs and how to multitask without being overwhelmed. It shows you how to create bold missions that pull you forward. It shows you how to reprogram your identity so you see your career take off, because you start believing that you can do so much more than what you're currently doing, and you start manifesting that in life. The Buddha and the Badass is about how life is not just about meditation and going within. The world doesn't need more people just sitting in a cross-legged lotus position going within. Nothing wrong with that. But in today's world, there are so many exciting things for us to fix. And so my book, The Buddha and the Badass, is about unifying that Buddha, the person who goes within, with badassery, the idea of going out there to make a dent in the universe, to shake things up, to fix the world.
What do you think? I mean, this is very ambitious, and I'm sure there are a lot of people listening and they completely feel you, but there are also other people, and we always have to keep that in mind, that don't even feel the need to rule the world or to go out with this concrete idea. They're just happy with like being a parent, or I don't know, being
That's a very
at
good
home.
point. That's a very good point. But look, nowhere did I say rule the world. I said change the world. Very different thing. In my book, Code of the Extraordinary Mind, I define extraordinary in this way. I said, look, extraordinary doesn't mean that you are the next world-changing technologist. Extraordinary could be that you are a stay-at-home dad and you decide that your wife is going to work. And what you want to do is you want to just be dedicated to raising your kids in the best way possible and giving them the most amazing growth experience in childhood. That's extraordinary. You're contributing to your world.
Absolutely.
That's how I define it.
And yeah, I think this is a great point. And also, when we say we contribute to a better world, what do you think is a better world? What does the world really need? Because we actually have a lot. We are in our society, especially in Europe, I'd say in Germany, we are so privileged. And if you go outside on the street,
you're right.
People, like honestly, now even in Corona lockdown, the people are complaining, and for sure they have their reasons. But compared to the other parts of the world, in India and Pakistan, wherever, it's nothing, right? So what does the world need?
Well, the world is it is true. Our world is getting better and better with every generation. But the reason it's getting better and better with every generation is precisely because in every generation, there are people who change the status quo. They are men and women who invent and create new models for living, who new technologies, new ways of improving the human experience. And that isn't different in our generation. Yeah, we are better than anyone in the past, but there's still a really exciting future for us to build. Can we build a world where nationalism is a thing of the past? Can we build a world where pandemics like this never have to occur again? Can we build a world where there's greater sense of unity, where men like Trump would never, ever get elected because we have trained people to see past their bullshit?
Yeah.
There's so many things to fix in the world.
Yeah.
And to me, that's exciting. There's so many exciting problems for us to solve. I don't see this as as bad things. I see this as opportunities, as exciting things to keep us getting out of bed every morning. I want to build an AI for the human species because I want everyone in the world to be healthy. I want everyone to be able to be stress-free. I want everyone living up to their true potential. So I wake up every day excited about building technology to get us there.
And what you're talking about is actually also kind of a way to fulfillment and or a step towards an amazing society, let's call it like this. But isn't it also always a thing of balance? We can only be great if we all have our failures, right? It's always a balance thing. And if there is no crime, maybe we don't even realize that we need more peace, or you know what I'm talking about.
Right. Maybe. No one is saying that you will never fail. But for example, Mindvalley looks at 137 different outcomes in our education model, and that education model expands probably every week. One of the outcomes is an outcome called resilience and grit. And it says that, look, we're always going to fail. There's always going to be bad things. It's how you mentally process them that defines your character. And so you can fail and you can give up and never want to start a business again, or you can go, I learned from this, let me move on. Resilience and grit is just one of the different outcomes that we want to help people cultivate. So we look at 137 different human characteristics and we help people build up within these areas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. One great term I love in all your talks you've given so far is the word brule. I mean, I personally know what it means, but maybe some of our listeners don't know what it means. Can you walk us through the meaning?
A
Because
brule,
it's great.
thank you for asking. I know my book has come out in German. I don't know how they translated that word, but a brule is a bullshit rule.
Yeah.
It is an idea or a rule that people have chosen to believe for many generations without questioning. And I ask that people question the brules. And the thing about brules is that it doesn't mean you question everything. Today, I was reading a very interesting article. There was a survey done in Australia that showed that something like 1 in 8 young people believe that COVID has to do with 5G and Bill Gates. I mean, that's just stupid. Right?
I also
you don't
heard it.
It's so what you want to question. So you don't question science. The earth is round. Climate change is real. Bill Gates has nothing to do with COVID, and neither does 5G. You don't question, and vaccines are safe also. You don't question science. But what you do question is culture, is beliefs that are passed down from generation to generation. And in every culture around the world, there are generational beliefs that are passed on from father to son, to mother to daughter, to father to son. And it's about questioning those rules that are based on opinion and not necessarily science.
Yeah, absolutely. Could you give like a real world example, like in yourself, where you started questioning a brule? Because I'm sure there are a lot of people outside like, oh yeah, that's a brule, but they don't even realize that they're following
a lot of it comes from culture, religion, politics. I grew up in an Indian family here in Malaysia. Growing up, I mean, the rule is that you don't fall in love. Your parents introduce you to the woman you're going to marry. Another rule is that if you're a good Hindu child, you behave a certain way, you eat certain things, you don't eat certain things. There are so many rules of culture. Even if you look at them, so I belong to many cultures. My children are Estonian. I've lived in America. I'm a European resident. I've lived in Malaysia. I'm baptized and I was born a Hindu and I live in a Muslim country. So it's very interesting looking at that whole spider web of beliefs. And many of these beliefs are beautiful. The American belief of individuality is beautiful in some way. The Hindu belief of oneness with the universe is beautiful. The Muslim belief of contributing to society is wonderful. But within all of these different cultures, there are also things that actually hold you back. For example, I grew up in a culture where it was considered wrong to marry someone outside your race or religion. And think about how many people give up on the love of their life because of that rule.
Yeah.
I grew up in a country where being gay is considered a disease. It still is today in Malaysia. Think about how many people live unsatisfactory lives because of that rule. I grew up in a culture where you had to go into the same business as your father.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fortunately, I did not. Otherwise, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Yeah.
And so throughout the world, we buy into ideas implanted in our heads by past generations. But when you understand how ideas spread, how ideas evolve, you get to question these and you get to understand what are bullshit rules that you can toss out the window and what is the true path that you can go on.
How can you identify them? I mean, if you're so stuck in this belief and you grow up in this very, I don't know, they're one-dimensional rules.
That's a simple formula. Is it coming from a political party within my country? And are these rules not shared? And are these rules alien outside my country? Right?
Yeah.
So this helps you identify rules which are country-based. If you're living in Iran and you believe in your theocracy, ask yourself, why is it that outside Iran, nobody believes in this theocracy? If you're living in America and you vote for Trump and you listen to him defunding the World Health Organization, ask yourself, why is it that across the rest of the world, no one else is vilifying the World Health Organization? So by looking at what your president, your political leader is saying, and asking yourself, how much of this is the bubble of the media in my country, and looking outside your country, that's one very effective way. Another thing is, look at your religion. If it came from religion, odds are it's a brule, because religion survives by brainwashing people generation to generation. Now, again, religion has lots of beauty in it. There are things I love about the religion I was born in, but there's also a lot of freaking nonsense that makes people unhappy. Yeah. Third, if it's coming from your culture and it's not shared across other cultures, it could very well be a brule. But ultimately, you must understand the difference between relative truth and absolute truth. Absolute truth is, this is an airport, this is white, it helps me listen to music. Relative truth is everything, and everybody will agree that this is an airport, but relative truth is something where not everyone will agree with. Is Marxism good or bad? Is being a liberal the right way or the wrong way? Is this idea from my religion the right path to God? So when you come to relative truth, the truth is made up in our own heads, and you should decide on your own based on data, based on evidence, based on your experience, rather than blind conditioning.
Yeah. Do you also think it's therefore necessary to be taught in school how to cope up with all these influences and how to make up an own opinion?
So, well, my kid's school do this really well. So my kid goes to an American school, and the big problem in America right now is fake news. Because unfortunately, America is run by a man who's a reality TV star and just makes shit up all the time. And right now it's Obamagate, right? And so it's very important that Americans learn to differentiate between fake news and real news. So they give an exercise to the children. They show the children news articles, and the children have to be able to research and understand, is this someone's opinion or is this the truth? And so I think schools have to be able to do that duty. They have to make people be able to see the complexities of the world around them and to be able to decide for themselves. But I think schools have to go further. They have to take you out of your national lens, and they have to help you look and see what's going on in other countries. Right. And so much of the stuff that's in America is Americans who watch Fox News believe it. But if you're outside America, you're looking at it and you're like, this is absolute nonsense, because you're not going through that perpetual form of brainwashing. And this isn't just true in America. Iranians living under theocracy have their form of fake news. In any society, there's a bubble that gets formed. And I think it's really important that we learn to look outside our respective societies and to understand the difference between news, fact, and opinion. But it's particularly important now because the world needs cooperation. The world needs all human beings to be working together right now to fight this pandemic. And the people who are telling us that we need to fear each other or build walls or are blaming each other, they're profoundly dangerous right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's really important that we educate people on being able to make these decisions and to differentiate fake news from real news. So anyway, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you. Maybe we'll find another date. Thank you so much for your time. And the next time.
Absolutely, Laura.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Take care.
All the best.
Bye.
You too. Bye.